All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bump in the Dark. Welcome to Last Pine. This is a month-long series of the game Bump in the Dark for the Gauntlet. This game is being played through the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. You can find out more about the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com. And I am Jex. I use they and them pronouns. I will be your keeper today. I'm just going to go across the bottom of my screen. Barry.
Hi everyone. I'm Barry, pronouns she, her. I'm here to play cool games on the Gauntlet, and you can find me on the Gauntlet, probably playing some games together, maybe.
Perfect. Ben.
I'm Ben. I use he and him pronouns. I'm also here to play good games with the Gauntlet and make character keepers. You can find me at Arctosaur on everything, pretty much.
Steven.
Hey there, I'm Steven, he, him. You can find me at Steven Alligator, but I mostly just post about stuff I've run on the Gauntlet, so it's redundant.
All right, thank you. And last but not least.
Hi. I'm Thomas, he, him pronouns, and I write a weekly newsletter about games at ttrpg.substack.com.
Cool. And I just recently subscribed to that, and I think I got my first edition of it today, so I'm excited to read that. So we are playing a game called Bump in the Dark, which is a Forged in the Dark game about hunting monsters in the vein of Supernatural or Buffy, little X-Files. Can accommodate a few different kind of approaches. This is a game that I wrote. We are doing a little bit of play testing. A new edition of the game actually just dropped early this morning. If you want to find that, you can go to jexjthomas.itch.io. And if you want to follow me on Twitter for some reason, it's at JexJThomas. We are playing with some safety tools today. We are playing with lines and veils, the X card, the open door policy, and script change. We reviewed those kind of in depth at the start of last session, going over how those work. So if you're not familiar with those, that's a place where you can go to get familiar with those. And we've reviewed our lines and veils before starting today. So why don't we do a quick introduction to the characters, the hunters that we'll be playing with today, and then we'll dive right in. I guess just we'll go across the character keeper this time, which actually I think is the almost the same order. So Barry, why don't you tell us a little bit about Angela Miller?
Yeah, sure. So I will be playing Angela Miller. So she's the shield of the group, headstrong fighter and protector, and she's a high school hockey team coach in her 40s. She's a very tough but also caring person who feels very strongly about her community and wants to make everyone prepared for whatever bumps in the dark.
Perfect. Cool. And Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about Troy?
All right. Troy McPhee is a carpenter in town and also a legacy member of our little pact here. His mother was a magic user who was a member, but sadly died a couple of years back. And Troy is trying to fill her shoes mostly. He's kind of ambivalent on the whole supernatural thing.
All right. And Thomas, why don't you tell us about Book?
Yeah, so Book is the Raven playbook that makes him an adept thinker and watcher. He was a former archivist at the University of Ontonagon who was fired because he refused to work with computers. And the reason he refused to work with computers is because every time he's around them, he hears whispers of the void, and he is convinced that computers represent some kind of as yet undiscovered dark conspiracy. Yeah.
I'm sure they don't. I mean, it's just, I imagine there's nothing there. And finally, Stephen, why don't you tell us about Mrs. B?
Oh, well, yes, hello there. I'm Mrs. B, and before I settled in this little town to my cozy retirement as a school librarian, I was something of a world traveler, sealing away ancient evils and what have you. But these days that's all behind me, and book has their ideas about how the secret world works. Um, they're very adorable little theories, but I'll make certain that he doesn't cause too many problems.
Great. Love the seeds of interparty conflict right at the beginning. That makes this game sing, I think. And we kind of have an additional sort of character, which is the town itself. So I'm just real quick going to pull up the map of Last Pine. So we did set up a map on Miro with some crude labels just to name kind of some of the locations here. And one of the main locations that we want to be looking at is going to be right here. That is the base for the Burned Book Club, which is the name of our pact. I'm sure a few other locations will come up here as well. I did not notice that there's a little cursor with people's names, so I do think that you can change your name if you'd like on there. So just beware of that, but I don't know that the map will come back up on the screen again or not. I don't know that I will always start with a TV style cold open, but I have one written for this hunt. So I thought maybe we could start there and then figure out where we find the hunters and how they want to deal with this problem. So it's May, kind of mid-May, getting towards the end of the school year, and the kids are restless and ready for summer to be here. And so we see a yellow school bus driving west down Highway B. The green grassy landscape is punctuated by occasional rocky outcrops on one side of the highway and a string of high voltage lattice towers running parallel to the road on the other. On the near side of the bus, we see the words Last Pine Elementary in big block letters. Inside, children of various ages are doing what kids tend to do on long bus rides: play fighting, singing, throwing things. One of the older girls, 6th grade or so, sits alone, her forehead pressed into the green vinyl back of the seat in front of her, her glasses slipping down her nose, her braids rocking gently with the motion of the bus. At first, it looks like she's sleeping. But as we push in, we see that she's actually trying to hide the fact that she's reading. From across the aisle, a young boy with a crew cut throws something at her, a crumbled up piece of notebook paper. The girl lets it bounce off her head before looking up and giving him the stink eye. Bad news for the boy, though, the teacher saw it. A young woman wearing a floral maxi dress leaves her position at the front of the bus and walks down the aisle, steadying herself against the seats as the bus hits an unexpectedly large bump in the road. Chad, what did we say about throwing things? The boy is instantly ashamed and turns away as if turning to his seatmate for protection. Nikisha, is everything all right? You've been quiet. Nikisha looks up at her teacher, pushing the glasses back up her nose. Yes, Miss Samantha, I've just been reading. Carefully, as if revealing a hidden treasure, Nikisha turns over a dog-eared paperback of Jurassic Park. My parents wouldn't let me watch the movie, but they don't pay much attention to what books I read. Nikisha smiles. But before the teacher can respond, the bus rocks violently. The scene quickly becomes chaotic as the bus veers sharply and then stops moving. Miss Samantha looks around, trying to see where she's needed most, when all of a sudden gravity shifts and she's falling. They're all falling. We have a close-up on Nikisha as she grips the back of the seat, watching in horror as the chaos unfolds around her. An abyssal, inhuman shriek fills the air, the sound of metal being torn apart, drowning out the screaming children, and Nikisha's eyes go wide. So, it's a weekday, like I said, kind of mid-May, where well, we have a couple of people who work at the school here. So Angela and Mrs. B, there is this field trip today for the younger kids. What do you find yourselves doing? I think this is one of those days, right, where for the older kids they get to watch a movie, right? They cart in the AV cart with the VHS player, and it's one of those days where really the main thing is trying to fend off cabin fever. Where do we find Angela?
So I think Angela is probably looking over everyone, trying to give the kids some freedom, maybe, so that they can watch the movie, but also keep them a little bit shepherded. So she's just taking a look at them and watching them over from some distance. Maybe even the TV watching is something set up in the gym so that it can gather more than just one class together. So it's on her territory. So she's feeling quite comfortable there.
Yeah.
And just
I don't want to put you too much on the spot by asking what movie it is. If you don't have a specific movie from the late 80s or early 90s, just type of movie would be okay too. Is this a comedy, a drama? Are they being made to watch Romeo and Juliet for the 5th time?
I think it's some kind of action movie.
Okay.
I don't really know that much from the 90s, but I think it's something fun. Let's have them. Let's give them some fun.
Yeah.
Angela, I think, is also prefers action movies from other kinds.
Makes a lot of sense to me, actually. Yeah. All right. What about Mrs. B? Is Mrs. B in the library? Where do we find her?
Oh, I think we find Mrs. B kind of what sort of day did you say it was?
Well, it's probably like the middle or end of the week, mid-May,
Okay.
and it's one of those days where you're just counting down the days until summer. The school year's
Okay.
almost over.
Yeah, in that case, I think that Mrs. B is I think I'm reshelving books, getting ready to kind of shut things down for the summer. But I think we also see that I have set aside, I'll say off the top of my head, I think a couple books of William Blake poetry that I think Ollie might like.
All right, great. And I think that we kind of get this, this shot of you doing that. And the library is almost like eerily still. The way I picture sort of Last Pine is it's probably just one building for all of the schools, right? Like elementary, middle, and high school are kind of all together in this one place. And so a lot of the younger kids are out on this field trip. A lot of the older kids are in the gym watching this movie, and it's really just quiet here. And I think you can hear the screams of sirens going past, leaving the police station, the sheriff's department, and heading west out on Highway B. Troy, what are you up to on a day like this?
I think he's probably just at this point on his way back home from dropping off a bunch of small little knickknacks at a Keen Ebony Woods store. Just driving his truck through town, listening to music.
Yeah, and you live right off of Highway B, and so I think that you're actually forced to pull off to the side as a number of sheriff's cars and probably a fire truck and an ambulance go speeding past. What's Book up to?
I think what time of day is it?
It's like mid-morning, I think.
Okay, yeah. I think Book is coming out of their house, just sort of blinking at the light, like clearly has like this is the first time sun has touched their eyes today, and goes over next door and maybe like talks to a neighbor for a bit, and then picks up a dog that they have promised to walk, and it's just walking the streets with this large shaggy dog.
Okay. Yeah. And do you have a sense of kind of like what part of town Book lives in? Are you more of the sort of like cluster of residential, more on the outskirts, or where do you think? You don't have to have like a specific spot, just kind of an idea.
Yeah, I think Book would live in a standard residential district, but is the weird house on that district, like their house is that one that kind of like stands out a little bit. People pointed out. Yeah.
It's like painted matte black or something.
I think that would be a strange choice, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure what eccentricities it has other than the resident.
Yeah. It's the house that people are scared to go trick-or-treating at a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think one Halloween, Book opened the door and was like, "I have a theory that I need to run past you kids," and I think I was like.
Oh, I love that. Well, you got to get feedback from all walks of life, really. So I think we see you walking this big shaggy dog, and I think the sounds of the sirens are sort of quiet in the distance. And we come back to Barry, or to Angela in the gym, and probably like the assistant principal, or like maybe the someone who works the front desk. I'm gonna bring up my name generator here. We'll say this is an older woman named Donna Peterson, and Donna comes up to you, Angela, and whispers in your ear, "There's been an accident. The kids on the field trip. There's been an accident. It sounds like it's really bad."
Right. Where are they? Is there anything we can do?
I mean, I think the Sheriff Joe probably has it handled, but I don't know. I think we should. I mean, we should probably just try to keep the kids. Should we tell them, or just let them watch movies all day? Like, what do you think?
I think we need to find out a bit more first before we say anything. So I need to go and find out what happened, and I will try to find some of my trusted kids. I guess these are like the older ones. I know everyone here, so I will gesture to one of the girls that I know from like the older classes, who's always reliable and great at keeping everyone in check. And I'm like, "Stacy, come over here for a second."
Yeah, and Stacy comes over and she says, yes, what do you? How can I help? What do you need?"
Stacy, something happened, and I need you to stay here and watch everyone. Make sure that everyone's behaving. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Oh,
I
okay.
hope I can count on you.
Yes, of course. I hope everything's okay. And I think probably as you start walking away, like Stacy kind of like straightens up and like, is ready to kind of be in charge. And Donna's just like, no, you can't just leave a student in. And then she kind of like just stands there. She's like, okay, I guess this is where I'm going to be now too. Where do you go?
So she told me that it's the sheriff will know more, right?
Yeah, that the sheriff has it handled or something like that. That the sheriff is at the scene of the crash.
Right. So do you know anything else about the crash, where it happened, where I can find someone?
This is you're asking Donna?
The assistant. Yeah.
I just realized I've been putting things in the live chat, not the private chat. My bad. And yeah, the assistant's like, no, I mean, I don't really know anything. The principal left, Mr. Mr. Russell, left to go out there to see if he can help.
All right. So please then stay there and watch over these kids. Stacy is a great girl, and I'm sure she can watch over them. So shouldn't be much work for you, but please, just in case.
Stacy hears you say that and is like trying to like not smile too broadly. And yeah, Donna is just like, oh, okay, all right, okay.
Just let them watch the movie.
Yeah,
and
of course.
If they come to you with any questions, tell them that we'll come back soon, and they will, and tell them everything. So, all right, I will head out now. Good luck.
Oh, okay.
And I will pat her on the back and go decisively.
Yeah, and I think she's just like entirely unprepared for this. Do you go and loop in Mrs. B, or do you like immediately like set off? What do you do?
No, I will go find Mrs. B for sure. We are great, this together. So you head to the library, right? You're at the library.
Yeah.
So I will head up, to the library, and I just I knock one time, and then I open the door.
Oh.
Hello.
Wait, I'm trying to remember now. Let's see. Are you Angela or Barry?
Angela. My character is Angela.
Okay. Angela, and I pull out a tray, a small. Is Tupperware a thing yet? Tupperware is a thing by the 80s, right?
Yeah, I feel like the the mid 90s were like the height of like Tupperware parties.
Yeah, I pull out a little Tupperware of brownies. You never pick these up for me, Angela. You need to be eating more with all the exercise you do.
I'm eating enough, okay? Mrs. B,
Still,
we have
a little more never hurts, and I push it into your hands while you're telling me this.
I won't say no to this brownie in this circumstance. There's been an accident. I think you haven't heard yet.
Oh dear, what?
The school bus from the trip. Something happened. I don't know yet what. But Donna from the principal assistant, right? The girl, she's completely lost and scared. So probably not just a regular, road thing. So I think it's something that we should check out together.
I see. Is there any sort of sign that this is something unusual?
I haven't really been able to find out more from Donna. I don't think she knows anything about.
Oh well, Donna tries, but she doesn't know to look for the right things.
I think she doesn't really know much, so we should probably just head out and see for ourselves. The sheriff is on it, supposedly. I think even if it's not something unusual, we are anyway a part of the school, and we need to find out what happened so we can pass the information to the kids who don't know anything for now. Just see if there's anything that we need to do there. Don't know if anyone's been hurt. So, but yes, for the unusual stuff, feel free to take all your stuff, the books and so on, whatever you think can come in handy. Because yes, we are in the last pine, right?
I love that Angela, like, this is so the shield, right? Like, you don't know there's anything spooky going on here, anything. You're just like, we have to go and protect people. I love that. So is Mrs. B down for that? I mean, otherwise I have another. Yeah.
Mrs. B will come along.
Cool. Who drives?
I can drive, I guess. I guess.
So do you have like a sidecar on your motorcycle? Because I think you said you drove a motorcycle, right?
Yes.
or is this like, or am I on like sharing the seat
Wrap
with you?
your arms
Yeah.
around me in the
Yeah.
back. I think
Okay.
it would look awesome.
Okay.
How do we loop? Or I guess do we? I mean, hopefully, but we don't have to. How do we loop Troy and Book in on this?
So I guess I found out more or less where I'm supposed to go. So I guess we can just get them on the way, and just to loop them in.
If Troy was seeing the was hearing the police sirens or seeing the police, I mean, we could just say that we were there as well. Like, yeah.
Sure, you independently decided to go find out what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
this
think
must be how we met in like the later generations. Just go where the sirens are. And
right, exactly.
Meet your team.
Yeah. I think that works. I mean, I think that the response, the amount of like squad cars and the fire truck and paramedics and stuff is pretty unusual for Last Pine. So I think that makes sense to me. Maybe Troy, do you get in your pickup and swing by and pick up Book and head over there?
Maybe he wasn't planning on it, but when he saw Book out on the walk, he'd kind of pull over and say, hey, something's going down. We'll have to go eventually.
We take the dog, obviously. It's not, obviously, I mean, no choice. We have to just take this dog.
Yep.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. So I think probably in that case, I think that Troy and Book probably actually get there first. But Angela and Mrs. B, you're not too far behind them, and the scene that you kind of come up on is pretty chaotic. There's part of I think actually probably the whole road here is blocked off, and you see a big sinkhole in the middle of Highway B with the tail end of a bus just sort of sticking up from it. So it looks like this bus has been kind of subsumed by this sinkhole. And the police sort of have things blocked off, but I think that Sheriff Joe actually, when she sees you, comes over. She is an ally of the pact and sort of one of the sources for information for y'all. So I think she's actually. Like the way I think of it is like, when Batman shows up and Commissioner Gordon is like happy to see Batman, but like can't officially be happy to see Batman because all the police that hate Batman are there. It's probably a similar kind of thing. Like Sheriff Joe can't, be like, oh, it's so great you guys are here. But she's glad of it. You can tell as she walks over that there's something, maybe something more, than just a sinkhole swallowing up a bus. Anyone have a sense of like who Sheriff Joe would be like closest with, or who she might see as like kind of like the leader of the pact?
I think definitely Angela.
Yeah, I think Angela.
Yeah, I think that feels right.
Sure.
So Sheriff Joe walks up to the four of you and kind of looks right at Angela. And do I want to try to do the accent? Angela, I'm so glad that the four of you made it. Can we come over here and talk? And she kind of guides you off away from everybody else. And she's like, listen, I don't know that anything strange happened. I don't know. Maybe you heard something different and that's why you came here. But okay, there are some details. One of the children says that she saw a dinosaur. And now it might just be her imagination because she was reading a book about the dinosaurs there. But there's also some marks on the bus, like tears in the metal that I don't know. It seems strange. I can't let you go and like look right now. Obviously, we're still pulling people out of there. But I don't know. Did you hear something different? Why are you here?
First thing, I want to make sure that everyone is safe. So this bus in the sinkhole, is everyone okay? Can we do anything? Do I need to go in there and grab someone out? Because my first instinct is to just keep these kids safe.
I think she kind of goes wide-eyed a little bit at that. She's like, well, we have the paramedics and the fire department. They're I think they have it handled. All the children are accounted for, and there's some injuries, but no fatalities. Thank God. The main chaperone, Miss Locke, and you guys, or Mrs. B and Angela at least know Samantha Locke is kind of this younger teacher who is very sort of tends to be very kind of optimistic and has all of these new ideas about all these new pedagogical approaches and stuff like that, where she really is excited about being a teacher. It hasn't burned her out yet. But there is one of the other chaperone is missing, Miss Valenti. And Miss Valenti, Yvonne Valenti, is an older teacher. Probably has been at the school longer, I think longer than either of you have, Angela and Mrs. B. Troy, you went to high school here, right? Or you went to school here? You grew up here?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you had Mrs. Valenti for like homeroom or something, and she was old then, and she's even older now. And Sheriff Joe reveals she's missing. We can't find her. So we don't know her status. Thankfully, though, everybody else is a little beat up, but no one's died. We're working on getting everybody to the hospital. The kid who said she saw the dinosaur, Nikisha, we're bringing her to the hospital as well. I'd like to let y'all take a look around, but probably not when everybody's here. It'll be a while before we're able to get the bus out of there. So if you want to take a look around, maybe in a couple hours, you can. I don't know. I can't officially let you go talk to the kid, but that might be a place to start as well. I don't know what else to tell you. What questions do you have?
All right. So for this missing person, so she was there. Does she? Yes, Yvonne Valenti. She was there on the bus, and now she's unaccounted for. All right. As for their looking around, yes, you're right. It would be great to do that. I'm sure we will get to it in a few hours. I don't know. Book, Mrs. B, Troy, what do you guys think? for gathering information. What should we do next? This is your thing, guys.
What's
Anything else we can try?
Where's the driver?
The driver was injured, but is, you know, I think is probably being taken to the hospital. Actually, you know what? No, let's say the driver is kind of sitting, you know, maybe sitting in the back of an ambulance, like on the step, you know, being given you know, some coffee or something. He actually seems mostly okay. Shaken up for sure, very shaken up. But he's, yeah, I think they're trying to convince him you need to go to the hospital, and he's saying no, I don't. It's fine. I'm fine. Right, that kind of thing.
Nice. Yeah, I think I will say, anyone want to come with me? I think I'll go speak to the driver.
Yeah, I'll join you.
And Sheriff Joe just kind of like cautions you, like, hey, you might get yelled at if you go in there. So just, you know, you can't tell them that I said it was okay. But, you know, so just be careful. And do all four of you go up to the driver, or is anybody doing, you think you might do anything else?
So the bus is still like, how deep in this sinkhole is the bus?
Just real quick, gonna look up how long a school bus actually is. So up to 45 feet in length. I would say there's probably like 10 to 15 feet of the bus is sort of showing, like kind of sticking up out of this hole, kind of at a diagonal.
Because I'd actually go to inspect the claw marks on this bus that they said were there.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think that probably, especially if you're like going into the hole or like going right up by the bus, you're probably going to have to do some kind of action roll to like get past people, right? Because that's I think a little bit more dangerous. But you know, and there's probably, you know, police and some workers and stuff there. But why don't we resolve that, and then we'll go over to talk to the driver. Yeah, what kind of approach do you want to take here? I think there's probably like, I don't know, maybe 3 sheriff's deputies kind of standing near the bus as I think they've probably gotten everybody out now, so I don't think the paramedics are still here. But one of the deputies, Deputy Dale, and this guy, you know, he's pretty well known to you. He's basically David Arquette in Scream, right? Like kind of not the brightest guy.
No idea.
Oh, okay. But you know, he's very well-meaning. He's very loyal, but you know, maybe not the brightest guy.
Okay.
But he's just kind of like, whoa, hold on there. I can't let you come any closer.
Oh, Deputy Dale! Oh, I have something here I've been meaning to give you. I pull out another Tupperware of brownies. I just wanted to get a little bit of a closer look. How about you have some of these right here, and I'll just be in and out in just a moment or two.
I'm trying to think if he would think to find it strange that you brought brownies to this crash site. No, I think he's just like, oh, is it okay if I share, and kind of gestures at the other deputies. And I think at this point, one of the other deputies, this is Deputy Pratt, we'll say, just like, Dale, you can't just let anybody with brownies go through. So I think it's going to take a little bit more convincing than just the brownies. How do you want to do this?
Oh, well, I am just a concerned citizen, dear, and I am trying to push for a connect here, but I am just a concerned citizen. I just want to make certain that all of you boys and girls are kept fed while you go about doing the important work here for the town.
Yeah, I think that I mean Deputy Dale is convinced. He's already eating
Yeah.
brownies. But yeah, Pratt and the other guy are not so much. So yeah, why don't you roll it? It looks like you have one in Connect. I think this is so
Yeah.
one thing that's different about this game than a lot of other Forged in the Dark games is that effect and position are kind of folded in
Right.
together into just position. I think this is risky, right? These are police.
Okay.
But I do think that yeah, do you want to push your luck? Do you want to or maybe make a deal with the darkness?
I mean, is this is I assume the same as in other F Forge in the Dark, that I can hear a deal from the darkness, but I don't have to take it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
If you want to make an offer here from the darkness, go ahead.
Yeah. I think that Officer Pratt's kind of an ass, and he is going to remember that that you sort of made your way in here, and I'm going to start a 4 o'clock. I won't take it at all. That's just sort of look into Mrs. B.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll take that.
All right, so that puts you at 2. Is anybody? I know a couple of folks were going to talk to the driver, but is anybody else with you? Does anyone want to help in any way?
I think I could help. I'm still there.
Mm-hmm. How do you help?
So maybe I will just come up and stand behind Mrs. B, which is always adding some additional, weight to the argument. And also because I'm quite, well known in the community. And she's like, we just want to take another look, make sure everyone's safe and accounted for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that you can mark off 1 luck, and that adds another die for Mrs. B. Re-put the dice roller in the chat just in case, since I had put it in the wrong chat before. And yeah, so you are rolling Connect with 3 dice. Risky.
That's a 5.
Okay, so yeah, on a 5, you do it. On a risky 5, you do it, but there's 1 or more minor consequences and a major consequence. Sorry. I think I don't know. I feel like this is a little boring, but I think that this really rubs Pratt the wrong way a little bit, and so I think I'm just going to tick that clock.
That's fair.
Once.
I was thinking that myself.
Yeah.
As it does I don't know. Well, yeah.
Do you want to resist that?
You know what? I have 2 in that. I might as well. Does resistance work the same as in kind of Forge Blades in the Dark?
Yeah, more or less. The amount of luck varies based on the level of the result, rather than it just being 6 minus whatever. But yeah, I mean, otherwise it works the same way. So how are you resisting this?
I think I give Deputy Pratt my most innocent librarian look.
Okay.
And I'm saying, what? Officer Pratt, are you really that? I'm just a little old retiree, Mr. Pratt. I don't think there's much to worry about here.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're resisting with heart.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I got a 6.
Yeah. And with a 6, you mark just 1 luck.
Okay.
All right. Pratt's still kind of huffy. Like you can tell this guy's just an asshole. But he's not gonna push it any further. And he lets the
some might say he's a massive prat.
Yeah, he that he is. And so he lets the two of you through, and I think even without like actually going down into the hole, you can see these sort of massive claw marks. Well, I guess you don't know for certain that's claw marks, but it certainly looks like claw marks. That's just like rended the metal on the side of this bus. And you actually can write that down as a clue that you found, which is claw marks.
Okay.
And this works basically like if you've played Brindlewood Bay or The Between, External Containment Bureau, you're going to find clues typically when you roll successes or partial hits, and you can keep track of those if you want to just keep track of them in the chat or write them down somewhere, however you want to do it.
Well, yeah, because the chat is gonna disappear at the end of the session.
That's right. Yeah, good call. Actually, yeah, if we want to put it maybe in the character keeper, just start a.
Yeah, I'm just looking for where a good place to put it is.
There's a note section on the back if we want to use that.
I just made a new tab called Clues. It's not formatted much, but you can put it in there. So the way it kind of works is you'll sort of you'll investigate, you'll find clues, either once you're ready or when the countdown clock fills. At that point, you'll do what's called a showdown roll, and there's 3 questions that you have to answer using at least 1 clue for each of them, and that's how you get your dice for the showdown roll. And those questions are: what is the creature or phenomenon? What does it want? Or why is it here? And why is it happening? And what is its weakness? And how can it be contained or dealt with? So those are the questions you're kind of trying to aim for as you're finding these clues. And there is no sort of set answer to what this monster is. Y'all are going to kind of help define that with the showdown roll. So you see these claw marks, and probably can get a little bit closer. Anything more, you'll need to actually go into the sinkhole, which is going to be a little bit dangerous. But why don't we move over to Troy and Book? You walk up to this bus driver. Did I give him a name? I have not given him a name. So let's say Gary Dickinson. This is also a guy that's been with the school for a long time. So Troy, he probably was your bus driver at one point. And I think you probably approach as one of the paramedics, sort of like gives up on trying to convince him to go to the hospital. And he's standing there and kind of looks up and he's like, "You're not paramedics."
No, Mr. Gary. Hey, remember me? Troy McPhee from street name that I live on.
Oh, yeah. I picked you up a number of years back, right?
Yeah,
Your dad was the carpenter.
That he was, yeah.
Yeah, he's still doing that?
No, he's not.
Oh, he's retired.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking. So how are you doing? You get a little banged up?
Yeah, it's nothing bad. I got a bad headache. Things look a little blurry, but it's fine. I've had worse. Back when I was in the army, I used to do some bare knuckle boxing. So I've had much worse.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So it looks like things could have been a lot worse here. Good driving on your part.
Thank you. I think I owe that to my time in the army as well. Vietnam had to do a lot of evasive maneuvers, they call it. Who are you? Pointing at Book.
Just a friend of young Mr. Troy here. Just making sure you're okay.
Oh, so so you're like social workers or something? The paramedics are done. Now they're going to have the social workers try to convince me that I need to go to the hospital, even though I don't want to.
Mr. Dickinson, I think we can both agree that hospitals, they don't really do anything, do they? Just give you a bill at the end of the day.
This is reverse psychology, isn't it?
I mean, you sound like someone who knows what they're talking about, Mr. Dickinson. I would never try to convince you of anything. That's all I'm saying.
All right, yeah, because I mean, my brain bouncing around my skull, that's not convincing me. So, yeah, I don't think you're going to either. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm fine. I don't really need anything. Is there anything else that you need? What are you here to do for me?
I was just checking in, saw heard the sirens, thought I'd see if there's anything I could help, and saw you sitting here and want to make sure you're okay. But now that you mention it, heard some of the kids were telling some weird stories.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, giant dinosaurs.
I didn't see anything like that.
Did you see anything at all? Anything weird?
I mean, there was a loud noise. I swerved, and then we hit a sinkhole. I think that was about it. I think you've gotten close enough to him at this point to faintly smell liquor on his breath.
Wow.
I think Troy will sit down on the bumper and say, so that sinkhole, though, just pop up out of nowhere?
I mean, that's what they do, right? Like, I mean, there's all these old mining tunnels and stuff. I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time, I'm sure. Especially with someone so skilled in quick reactions and defensive driving.
Evasive maneuvering.
That's it. Yeah, evasive maneuvering.
Can I get a sense of whether Gary Dickinson is holding out on us? Is he not? Do I get the sense that he's being honest when he says he didn't see anything?
I think that he legitimately believes what he's saying. But something kind of pulls at you that, like, the fact that he believes what he's saying doesn't actually mean that that's necessarily what he saw, if that makes sense. Like you get the sense just a little bit that he's trying to convince himself of something. I don't know if this is maybe I don't want to tell you what to do, but maybe you can get some special insight here. Or there's any number of ways to approach this, but just noticed your special ability might come in handy here if you want to use it.
So my special ability that allows me to tune to dark whispers of the void, I want to use that only if there's computers or technology around.
Yeah, I think there's probably some some stuff in the ambulance.
Oh yeah. That would
I think you get this sense that he's here's the hopefully more elegant way to do this. You get the sense that he's trying to convince himself of this, and you kind of look up and see some like beeping and stuff, and just hear like a little bit of chatter that you're able to sort of push out as he's kind of sitting there. And like he noticed that you looked away, and Troy, you're kind of like sitting. You sat down next to him.
Yes.
I guess, Troy, you notice as he actually pulls a flask out of his pocket and takes a quick swig and puts it back in. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'd love to hear some whispers from the void right now then.
Okay. Yeah. And the way this move is written, it's sort of just, you can just do this.
So does this mean I have to like do all sort of monstrous abilities activate on a push or something like that?
Yes. So that's right. Yeah, you're right. This is a monstrous ability. So so you do have to push your luck to do it. And there is a cost when you do a monstrous ability. And aside from that, so sorry, it's been a minute. So you choose, you either lose control when you do this, you suffer a condition, or the keeper takes a string on you. And a string is sort of like this game's version of entanglements, but it can come up either during play or during downtime. So you can lose control, suffer a condition, or take a string. Or I take a string.
Yeah, I'll give you a string. That's
okay. Fine. Yeah, so this chattering that I think you probably have come to like sort of instinctually try to push out, you're able to let it in. And what does it sound? What do these voices sound like?
They sound like someone talking over the dial-up modem screech. Like I don't know if that is if that's a common memory for people, but yeah, like when you use a dial-up modem, there was just that kind of like absolutely unsettling kind of series of sounds, and I think like those sounds start playing, and then there's a voice that kind of emerges out of that.
Yeah, I think like the sound designer on this show has like found a way to like use those sounds to like synthesize speech.
Nice.
And I think you just hear, something to the effect of, he's lying, he saw something else, he's lying, we can feel his lies.
Okay. I turn to Troy and I say, Troy, could you give me a minute alone with Mr. Dickinson?
Yeah, sure.
And you don't have to like move out of like hearing range or anything, but I think this is theater for Dickinson's behalf. I think as Troy gets up and kind of gives us a minute, I lean in towards him and I say, Gary, we're all friends here, and I really wouldn't like you to lose your job for drinking. I don't think the school kind of enjoys, like, you say the sinkhole opened up right in front of you, but I'm thinking, like, maybe you could have seen it if you were just paying attention, and if someone complained, made a fuss that you endanger the lives of these kids, that might be bad for you.
I think he immediately reacts with like, drinking, what do you know, that kind of thing. He's trying to deny it, but this he does not want to give you this information. So I think this is an action roll. What are you aiming for here?
I think this is a sway.
Okay. It feels a little compelly to me. But yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think,
fine. If compel is framed as intimidate, like yeah, I think this is compel. Like I don't know.
You have a 0 in compel, so you'd be starting out rolling 2 dice and taking the lower. However, you can push your luck by marking 2 luck to get a die. You can take a or listen to and decide to take a deal with the darkness to get a die, or if there's a way Troy can be helping here, that also could net you a die. So you could get up to 2 additional dice here.
Yeah, if you have a deal for me, I'd love to hear it.
You can't actually stop the information that he's been drinking from getting out. I think either someone's overheard this, or one of the other EMTs has noticed it or something, but you aren't going to be able to keep the promise you have made with this threat that if he talks, you're not going to tell anybody, or that no one's going to know that he was doing it.
No, I think I will just push my luck. I don't
Okay.
want. I don't particularly want to be dealing with Gary Dickinson's kind of like ire for like
Sure.
very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just.
This is a small enough town that might actually make a difference. Okay, and Troy, is there a way that you can help here?
I wonder if Troy just kind of being nearby and looking pointedly, reminding Gary of his responsibility is sufficient.
I think so. Yeah. So Troy, if you want to mark a luck, that puts Book at 2 dice, and because you're acting on information that you got from voices from the begun, you're going to be acting with improved position. So this is a safe position.
Nice.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll it when you're ready.
Yeah, that's a 4.
That's a 4. Okay. Yeah. So on a safe 4, you accomplish more than expected, but there's a minor consequence. So I think you're definitely going to get a clue here. Let me think about how to frame this. I think after his kind of protesting, right? I think that he sort of gives up. He's kind of like, okay, I've been trying to get help, but please don't say anything to anybody. I did. And he kind of glances over, or like kind of does like a head gesture over towards kind of like behind Troy, where there's like sort of one of these like little kind of like rocky outcroppings. It's like something came through the windshield and I got myself out of the bus and I hit it before anybody came. And Troy, you can hear this from where you are. So if you look behind this, this bunch of rocks, I think you find what looks like a broken mandible of some sort. So that is your clue: broken mandible. Before you're able to really ask him anything else, Book, I think what happens is the Deputy Pratt, bored with Mrs. B and Angela at this point, comes over and he says, "What are you doing here? You need to get out of here. This is official business only."
We go. Oh, the dog! The dog just got out of my hand.
I forgot about the dog.
I tug on the leash and we're like, we were just going. Yeah.
Okay, get that mud out of here. This is how you know that Pratt is a real asshole. He doesn't like dogs. Troy, do you take the mandible?
Yeah, I think he'll slip it into his jacket.
And I think it's pretty big. I mean, it's sizable. Yeah. But I think, yeah, you're able to kind of grab it and hide it. I don't think you need to roll for that. So why don't we, I just noticed the time, why don't we take our first break? Be back at, we'll do a 10-minute break for the first break. Be back at 18 after, and then we'll see what Angela and Mrs. B are up to. All right, welcome back. So, real quick, want to introduce one of the kind of main mechanical things in this game, which is the countdown clock. So every hunt has a countdown clock that will be 4, 6, or 8 segments, which gets ticked in a couple of different places or in response to a couple of different things. One being on misses and weak hits, so as a consequence of a roll. The keeper can also tick the countdown clock just in response to things like time passing. This is a 6 clock for this hunt, which I've just ticked once. There's no like big consequence when it gets ticked once. So generally the way it works is consequences happen when the clock is halfway I'm trying to remember exactly. You'd think writing the rules would help me remember them, but it doesn't work that way. Gets filled half. There's a consequence at half, and then at either 2/3 or 3/4, and then when the clock is completely full. So there's no like official consequence right here as I tick the countdown clock once. But I do think that what it means is coming back in from commercial break in the show of this, we get a scene away from the hunters. We get a scene in somewhere really dark. It seems dark and kind of claustrophobic. It seems like there's a little bit of light coming from kind of up ahead, what seems to be a long, dark tunnel. And we see an older woman dressed, I don't know, somehow stereotypically as a teacher. I don't know exactly what that looks like. We don't need to figure that out necessarily, but the viewer definitely knows that this is the missing teacher, Mrs. Valenti. And she's kind of limping. Seems like she's injured. She's probably limping and like kind of holding her side and actually just sort of like dragging herself along this wall a little bit. And I think we actually see a little bit of a trail of blood. Nothing huge, grotesque, but some blood as she sort of hobbles along, kind of weakly saying, "Help me, somebody." And she hears a loud sound and kind of freezes for a moment and calls out, "Someone, is anybody there? Please, I'm injured. I need help." And then hears a sound very, very similar to the shriek that the viewer heard earlier when the bus crashed into the sinkhole. And I think the screen just sort of goes dark. So obviously this is information that you, the players, have. It's not information that the hunters have. But yeah, after this, we cut back to Angela and Mrs. B. Tell me about what you're up to. You've noticed these marks, these claw marks in the metal. It's torn the metal apart. To see anything more, you'd probably have to actually try to get down into this sinkhole, which seems dangerous. You notice that the bus is actually kind of pretty precariously kind of hanging here, like it could fall pretty easily. I think that on the other side, sort of away from you, there is you actually watch as like paramedics like pull up a line that they had fed down into the hole to be able to go down and help people get out of the bus and look to see what's going on down there. Most of the people were able to escape through that emergency door in the back of the bus. But yeah, so what do you do?
All right, B, this looks like anything to you? So,
Well, these claw marks are certainly interesting. I would have to spend some time studying them. If we had any samples, that would certainly be helpful.
I think it makes sense to look around.
I think it
Sorry.
would. I'm
Whatever
waiting
it was,
for
maybe.
Angela to volunteer because climbing into a sinkhole seems like an Angela job.
I was thinking before we, jump in there, maybe there are also some signs around. If this thing was on top of the bus or jumped in front of it, maybe there are also some signs in the area.
Oh, like if it was like outside around the bus as opposed to like
outside of
down
the
in the hole or
sinkhole,
something.
just something like that. If there are any maybe like foot marks or something like that, or just signs of movement on the road or something like that.
I think mainly because there have been so many people here, like, and the paramedics had gotten most of the kids out of here by the time you arrived. But so there's a lot of like, foot marks, tracks, and, kind of tracks from pulling stretchers from the hole over to the ambulances. There's some tire marks in the kind of in the dusty on the dusty side of the road. But I do think I don't think you need to roll for this. I think that you can see in places. What's this look like? It's sort of like something dragged itself. Well, you don't know that it's something large was dragged. Maybe you don't know how it was propelled, whether it was self-propelled or pushed or pulled or whatever. Kind of from off in the distance on the side of the road, the side with the rocky outcroppings, towards the bus. So I don't think it's not quite a clue, but it is something that you notice.
This looks interesting. Maybe some direction we could go. Maybe nothing, but maybe something. But if we go around, then I guess we should get together with the rest.
Yeah, and I want to say too, I think it's clear that the any opportunity you have to do anything right here is fading quickly. So Mrs. B, if you want those samples, you're probably going to have to try to convince Angela a little. Actually try to convince her rather than sort of hint at, "Hey, I need you to climb down there." And I would say it's either it's either get the samples or reconvene with the others and follow these tracks, whatever they might be. Just because it's clear that the police are kind of getting ready to close things out here.
Angela, you're a strapping young woman. Something remind me a little bit of myself when I was your age. Could you climb down there, see if you could find any sample that we could analyze, perhaps?
What do you mean by sample? Do I need to drag a piece of the bus for you? Like rip it off?
You don't need to take a piece of the bus, but perhaps there is some more evidence of what it is we're dealing with. Fluids, pieces of fur, those sorts of things that a creature of this size would be likely to leave behind.
Right, I'm not great with this stuff, but I can certainly jump there if this is what you're implying, and look around. All right, if you think that's useful, then for sure I'll do this. And she's preparing to get down before anyone stops her.
Right. Yeah. I think we probably kind of like look around and like we see Angela just sort of like make a leap onto the bus, and the bus sort of like, moves a little bit, but stays in place. And you can climb down the bus. You can look around these claw marks that are maybe a little bit ways down. What kind of approach do you take here? So you want to gather samples. I think the obstacle here is they're not just present. I mean, like right, like you have to do some digging probably to find them. And I think the risk here is either getting caught by the sheriff's department, or the bus actually falling the rest of the way into this hole. So what approach do you want to take here?
So I think I'm trying to take in Mrs. B's kind of advice of what to look for. So I on one hand I try to be kind of athletic, right, and careful about it to not fall down. And on the other, I'm focusing on this what could this creature leave. So I'm trying to use. I think Angela has been maybe as a child or sometime in the past been hunting a couple times. So because I put one dice there, so she's trying to think, okay, what kind of marks do animals leave in of this size? Where could that possibly be? That I would take. And I'm not really being so careful about who might see me, because yes, if we're doing this, might as well. Let's just not get hurt and get something useful out of this.
Yeah. So yeah, that definitely sounds like hunt for sure. I think, especially if you're not being particularly careful about being spotted, or about not rocking the bus too much, I think this is desperate. If there's anything you can do to sort of shift the position at all, you can feel free. I don't know if one of your some of your gear might help in some way, or anything like that. Otherwise, yeah, this is going to be a desperate roll. Starting out with one die, you of course can push your luck or take a deal with the darkness for more.
I definitely have a hunter's kit, so in my gear. So maybe that will allow me to be more careful, because I can use this stuff to get things more efficiently.
Sure, yeah. And I'll read I think that makes sense. I think we can figure out something that's in there that helps. So I'll read off the description for the hunter's kit: a tin or small satchel containing tools of the trade. Mark off one load to have up to 3 uses in a pinch. So some examples of things that you might find in a hunter's kit: a small vial of quicksilver, salt, matches, lighter or tinderbox and flint, bandages, things like that. But certainly I think there could be something in there that helps, kind of helps you here. I don't know if you have a thought on what that might be.
Maybe something like a multi-tool to get a hold on of something, and maybe cut off a piece of some sample. That depends on what I'm able to find, but something like that, a multi-tool.
Yeah, that sounds
a good quality one.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah. I think that having that, I think that can move you into a risky position instead of desperate. I think that makes sense to me. This is still definitely very dangerous. The same risks are here, but yeah. So do you want to push your luck, or maybe make a deal with the darkness?
Maybe I will push my luck.
Okay, so you can mark off 2 luck. Mrs. B, is there some way that you're helping?
Oh, I'm trying to think, but like maybe like, because I kind of did mention that this is something I do in my younger days. Maybe I like spot some like handholds for her, like from my vantage. This is how I would have done it, before I had the fake hip.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. So go ahead and mark off a luck. And Angela, you're up to 3 dice for this this risky hunt roll. Okay, and that's a 6. Awesome. Yeah. So you do it. You you find. So I guess paint the picture for me a little bit of like what we see sort of on screen, as you find these handholds that Mrs. B is telling you about. You have your multi-tool out, maybe scraping at some stuff. Just paint the picture a little bit of what we see, and then I'll tell you what you find.
All right. So I think Angela, before anyone notices, as I mentioned, and before she changes her mind, drops down on the bus and follows the handles pointed by Mrs. B. I think Mrs. B also kind of points to her the directions where something glistens that might be interesting, and she just takes a look at this, and maybe sometimes she doesn't recognize exactly what she's seeing, but if something seems interesting, like it could be a piece or something left by this creature, she tries to cut it off, or maybe get it with some piece of fabric if it's some substance, and she just snags all of the stuff into her pockets with one hand, as in the other she holds on.
Yeah, I think that as soon as you move towards that sort of glistening spot, a really acrid sort of smell hits your nostrils. And you see it sort of seems to be fading in color, but this like kind of almost greenish fluid, that there's only a little bit of fluid left. It seems like it's kind of dried, and or I think there's actually some spots where it looks like it ate into the metal of the bus a little bit. So you have found the clue acidic fluid.
All right. And I'll try to, as I mentioned, get a bit of it on some material that I have, considering that it's acidic, so I don't want to have
I
it
think there's
eat
something
out
in
of
your
the
hunter's
but
kit, that for sure. And I think that you're the only person that hears this, because you're the most in the hole, I guess. You hear what sounds like a shrieking sound, like an inhuman kind of shriek, and a scream coming from, it sounds like, further down in the hole, or maybe a tunnel connected to the hole. What do you do?
So the scream seems human, like.
So there's a very like inhuman kind of shriek followed by a human scream.
All right. Hey, there's someone in there. I try to scream up.
Okay. And so you're not directing that specifically at Mrs. B, you just kind of say it as loud as you can?
I say that to Mrs. B, but also I want others to hear it as well.
Yeah, because the police definitely hear it. I think Deputy Pratt runs over, hand kind of on his sidearm, sees you like sort of on the bus, and is just like, what the fuck are you doing down there? What are you talking about?
There's someone in there. I heard
like,
the scream.
Besides you?
Yes.
Oh, shit. You're sure?
I'm sure. I heard it.
He turns to Mrs. B. Did you hear it too?
Yes, why else would Angela have gone into the pit?
Perfect. Yeah, I think he that's enough for him. Shit. We'll get down there. We'll get down there right away. We had people down there, but we didn't see anything. There's so many old mining tunnels around here, like it's just shit. Okay. And kind of calls out for like some of the other deputies to sort of get involved. Troy and Book, you definitely hear this commotion, and see pretty much all of the deputies now moving towards the sinkhole. Troy, you have this mandible that you found that Gary pointed out. Book, you're still kind of standing there with Gary, who's sort of, I think at this point he's just kind of like head in hands, like, I don't know that he's sobbing, but he's definitely like he's done. What do the two of you do?
Gonna rush over to the sinkhole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As you get there, you see the deputies kind of setting up this line to lower themselves down there. Angela, you can feel. I think you can feel it. You're on it, and everybody can hear it as the bus kind of like shifts, and I think is now hanging even more kind of precariously. You probably need to get off of here either by going down or up. I think either way will work, but it's not staying much longer. And I think the deputies are already like climbing down into the hole. You see flashlights kind of flitting around. Does anyone have anything that they want to do here?
So first thing, when it comes to the scream and the shriek, were they all both coming from the same place, or okay, from the same place?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, how does the sinkhole look? Looking at my friends, does it seem like they would be able to go down with me, or would that be something? Probably not.
Probably not. I think anybody else on this bus. I mean, that's sort of your ladder, right? Is the bus. Anybody else on the bus is definitely going to cause it to shift and fall. Which now the danger is not just you, but there's also these sheriff's deputies at the
Right.
in the bottom of the hole. The sinkhole itself seems fairly stable, I guess. But yeah, the bus is not very safe, and I think you have a moment to think like, wow, it's really bad that they didn't do something to like secure this already.
All right, then I will get myself up to prevent some danger to everyone around, and reconvene with the others to think of a plan.
Yeah. I think that there might be a role here just to see if you can get up with the bus in kind of in one piece, if that's what you want. Otherwise, I think you can just run up, but the bus is going to fall. So what does that matter to you, or do you want to do something to try to prevent that?
I try to prevent it from going down. I try to do it somehow agile and dexterous. So okay. I guess that would be a scramble.
Yeah, I think that works. So just kind of trying to move quickly, but also kind of lightly, I guess, right? I think that this is risky. You have 1 in scramble. Would you like to push your luck or make a deal with the darkness, or hear a deal with the darkness?
Maybe I would like to hear the deal with the darkness.
Yeah. I think that the deputies that are still up here are going to be very adamant that you all leave. This is no longer a safe place to be.
All right. So be it. We have our own way of doing things, and maybe they have their way of doing things. We are not so great at working together, so I'll take that.
Okay. Yeah. So that puts you at 2. Anybody helping in any way?
I wonder if Troy could use some sort of a spell work to assist Angela's escape.
Yeah, tell me what that would be, what that looks like.
I think in a very kind of stereotypically 90s TV kind of way, he just kind of does a dramatic pose with his hands and twists his fingers to try and just lighten Angela's steps.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fucking awesome. Yeah. So mark off 1 luck for the assist, and Angela, that's it puts you at 3 dice. Risky scramble. Okay. So it looks like a 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're kind of climbing up, trying to move quickly, you feel you feel something sort of like almost like underneath your feet, kind of pushing you upward. I don't know if you watched the recent Ms. Marvel show on Disney Plus, but like there's this like she can make these like things kind of appear under her feet that she can step on. I think it probably looks kind of like that, right? We have some kind of visual element to show Troy's spell, and so you're actually almost able to step up without stepping on the bus. I think the consequence here is, let me just check something. I think that you hear as you're getting up out of the hole, you hear gunfire coming from down at the bottom, and the police that are still up here are now like really like pushing you physically, like you need to leave. No civilians. This is a an active crime scene or whatever. Pushing you back towards your vehicles.
All right. I think we need to go.
I think we get we cut back to the gymnasium with the movie has now finished, and the Donna is just like kind of like twiddling her thumbs like she's not sure what to do. The kids start to get a little restless, maybe start throwing wads of paper and things like that. And Stacy is totally not in control. She is not able to do this. We believed in her. We thought she could do it, but it was too much for her. But it's also too much for the the assistant who should have been able to do this. So when we cut back, where do we find the pact? I don't think we need scenes of you driving somewhere here, unless you want. But how do we frame this next scene?
So do we go back to the base, I think, right? I promise that I will go to the school, so I will do that first. And just get the children in order. Maybe we don't need to have a scene with that, but just like tell them what happened, that they can go home or they can wait here for their parents and so on, and that nobody's been hurt from the kids.
Actually, I wonder if it's okay with you. I wonder what happens is, because the principal was out there, but he wasn't there when you got there, so he must have left already. So maybe that scene we get in the gymnasium, we get the principal coming in and sort of, we see him open his mouth to make the announcement, and then that's sort of where it cuts.
You're right.
And y'all are at the base. Is that fair? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're at the base, aka Troy's house. Troy, tell us a little bit about where in the house you're meeting and what it looks like. What does the camera see here?
I think the main floor of the house, it has the bones of a good house, but it's the kind of thing where Troy's father started a lot of projects, and for various reasons up to his death never quite finished them. So there's plastic sheeting over a couple of doorways. The stairs are unfinished. There's a roll of carpet that's meant to go somewhere just sitting in the hallway, and Troy's never touched it. And so the kitchen's mostly done though, so maybe that's a good place for hanging out. He'll make some tea or coffee.
Yeah. So you're sitting around this kitchen table, and I'd love to hear just like a taste of sort of what this conversation is like, and sort of maybe where you want to go next. Technically, if you wanted to, you could do the showdown roll here. I probably wouldn't. Probably try to get some more clues first, but that's certainly an option if you wanted. So let's get a taste of kind of the conversation here, and what might be next, where you want to go with this next.
I think book is got things on the table, has arranged them in a specific like way and gone, okay, have you heard of trapdoor spiders? Okay, so they like lie in wait, they dig a little hole, they lie in wait under the sand, and when something comes out, they jump up and grab it and then pull it down into the hole and then they eat it. So I'm just saying, trapdoor spiders.
Do spiders shriek?
Well, I mean, if we're going to quibble, Angela, like a trapdoor spider is tiny, so this is definitely not exactly a trapdoor spider, but I'm saying like something like it.
Yeah, Troy's holding this big mandible.
Yeah.
I think I'll just put it on the table and say real big.
All right, so we have this stuff as well, and I try to take out the acid covered piece of something that I packed. Has any of you seen that before? I mean, apart from the chemistry lab, but on creatures here.
Did Mrs. B make you go and get that? Oh my God, Mrs. B, we're not forensic experts. What are we going to do with this exactly? Do you have a little chemistry set with you?
Well, Book dear, I was not the one that suggested a trap spider, and while that's a very intriguing proposition, I am curious. Don't trap spiders generally eat the things they catch? As far as we can tell, there's only one person missing. Why was everyone else able to why were able to remain there long enough to be ferried away by the emergency crews, but even though they had been caught, clearly what we're dealing with has some more complex desires than merely eating. Wouldn't you agree?
Or it doesn't like the way kids taste.
Or buses.
Or buses. Can Troy smell the fluid?
Are you asking for permission, or whether you're like whether it's something that's just when she takes it out, it just like hits you?
Like, yeah, he'll grab the baggie or whatever it's in and just take a sniff, see if it smells like anything.
It's a very acrid smell, kind of like spoiled milk, I guess, but with a hint of something really kind of earthy, maybe. And just I'm just assuming Troy here is basically a super smeller. Like also some notes of something that. What does nothingness smell like? It's like maybe almost like smells a little bit like kind of like ozone. But it's a really strange and I don't think Angela noticed this earlier when she encountered it, because she wasn't specifically like trying to smell it like Troy is doing. I think that there's an odd feeling as those sorts of parts of the smell hit your nose, that like it smells like something's there, but you can't place it. It's that feeling of something being at the tip of your tongue, but you're never able to quite get to it, or the feeling of looking at something where you expected to see something and seeing only an absence. So that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Troy will seal it up again and kind of, rub at his nose and say that not pleasant. I was hoping that would bring something up, but
So I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering here, Jex. Is this also because I'm just checking in about the rules here, like in Fortune in the Dark, where everyone on our connections are people we know, but we actually have kind of relationships with like the people we mark up and down on.
Yeah, so actually that's a little bit of a holdover from the original version of the character keeper. So the way it's sort of designed is that only the ones with the up and down arrows are contacts that you actually start with.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And just as a sort of just to kind of lay out some of the leads that you've sort of gotten. I think, right, you know that Nikisha, the student who saw the dinosaur, and Samantha Locke, the chaperone, are both in the hospital. What else? You have this, you have this fluid or whatever it is. You now have a sense that the hole was definitely connected to some tunnels. I don't know. I'm sure there are other things. Anything else that y'all can think of that might be something to follow up on?
Mrs. B is taking an after-hours visit to the school chemistry lab because we do actually have a chemistry set to work with. We just need to, go there after hours.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that makes sense. We're probably at the point where school is going to get out pretty soon. You imagine that everyone has actually been sent home at this point, but there's probably still administrative people around and stuff like that. But yeah, that's definitely something you can follow up on. And y'all can do your own thing too, right? Like if there's different leads to follow.
Yeah, you can all do your own thing. That's what Mrs. B is doing. I have like a 2 in studies, so I'm good.
So maybe we can check in the library for some plans maybe of old mining tunnels around, just to see if it connects. Maybe Mrs. B would also be great with that to tell us where to look. But I think Book, you can also find your way in the library.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of thing that you'd have to go to the public library for, not the school library. Yeah. Okay, so maybe a couple of you going to the library, Mrs. B going to the school, to the chemistry lab. Anywhere else that folks want to go if you split up or whatever?
wonder if there'd be any value for Troy to go to the hospital and see if he could talk to the kids or any of the kids.
Okay. So Angela and Book going to the library, Mrs. B going to the chemistry lab, and Troy going to the hospital. Okay. I think we cut to Angela and Book walking into the Last Pine Public Library. It's it's actually a surprisingly nice building. It's a large building. I think that that the library here has been heavily subsidized by the Grand Foundation, which is a foundation started by Clifford Grand, the president of the Grand Soot Hill mining concern. And yeah, I don't think that there's really a role here. I think that you probably can go up to the librarian. Her name is Dot Johansson, and she can guide you to, what are they called, like plat books? Is that the right thing? Like the sort of old records of land deeds and things like that. And there are incomplete maps of the tunnels, but you are able to see that a old mining tunnel, like not one of the actual like shafts, but like a tunnel maybe that they built to run supplies or something like that, intersects with what is now Highway B, about where the sinkhole is. Not quite right under it or anything, but right near there. So you're able to find that pretty easily, actually. And as you sort of trace these other tunnels, you realize that there's just a shit ton of tunnels all around, not just Last Pine, but the whole sort of Ontonagon Peninsula. Um, what do you want to do? Do you make copies of these? Do you have any questions for the librarian? Is there anything else that you want to look up while you're here?
I think book will ask Angela. Do you want? I know you heard a scream. I didn't. I don't know whether I heard it or not. Do you want to go down into the tunnels?
That would be the best, I think. I don't know if these police will handle this on their own. I thought there was a chance it could be close, but I think we would have already found out. So we can give it some time, but eventually it might come down to this, because I'm sure this was probably Miss Valenti out there screaming, and she might still be alive. So I already feel awful about leaving her there, but in the moment, not a great idea to go into the hall with nothing, right? But I think it would be good to start looking for some entrance there, because whatever this is, I suspect it's inside the ground.
I think just being Last Pine residents, you know that there are a number of sort of above ground kind of entrances to some of the old mining tunnels. Most of them have been sealed off. I mean, probably all of them officially have been sealed off since this mine closed. But yeah, there are places that you could get in besides through the sinkhole. Some of them probably closer to town.
Maybe I could ask Tony, an ex-miner, my friend, to give us some pointers.
Yeah, I think that's a good
knows
idea.
Some of these places.
Yeah. Okay. Let's cut over to Mrs. B. Mrs. B, you are entering the school. You get there, and I think it's probably like 4 p.m. or something by now. And you're surprised to notice that the doors are locked. Usually there's still people here, but that kind of, I think, tips you off that likely everyone was dismissed early.
I'm a school employee. Do I have a...
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you put in your key, you're able to open up the door, and you sort of walk through the surprisingly empty halls and make your way to the chemistry lab. Which is pretty well populated for a high school or combined age chemistry lab. So what do you do with this substance?
Well, I think I probably am putting it through, like, Stephen, do not know chemistry enough to know what I'm doing, but I am putting it through a series of, like, I guess, tests, seeing if I can distill it. I guess I'm trying to, like, match it, because I've established that Mrs. B has some history of hunting monsters. I'm like seeing if I can, like, I guess, narrow down what we might be dealing with based on how this acid behaves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I think that also most television writers don't know how chemistry works. So I think what we would see on screen, it looks like chemistry. Who knows what you're actually doing, right? Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that you're in a pretty safe position here. I think that there is the risk of maybe losing the sample, or maybe even just not being able to get any conclusive answers. But yeah, I think if you want to, you mentioned study before. It kind of sounds like that's what you're going
Yeah.
for here. Yeah. Do you want to push your luck or make a deal with the darkness?
I think I'll push my luck here.
Okay. So that brings you up to 3. Unfortunately, there's no one here to help you. I
That's
don't
fine.
know. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, so this is a safe roll, 3 dice.
That's a 6.
All right. And on a safe 6, you get what you're looking for and a little extra. So why not? If you're willing, tell me about one of your hunts or missions from when you were a young uh, a young occultist with whatever the group that you had been involved with.
I think we were hunting a like I'm just thinking here. I think that like is there is there like related to this acid or like do you have like a more pointed question than that, or should I
Sure,
just
that's fair. I don't think I really do. I mean, I think just something where like here we would get a flashback kind of to the type of stuff that Mrs. B used to do.
Sure. Yeah, I guess actually flashing back, we actually see a young Mrs. B kind of belaying down into like a cavern, kind of summoning back Angela's own, kind of climbing down the diagonal school bus. And I think she has like a book clutched in one hand and that is and like a also like a headlamp probably because if she and belaying with the other, and I think the headlamp lands on something's eyes flashing back in the dark.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's where we cut.
Yeah. And I think what we cut back to is you are using some kind of reagent. I think that's a word in chemistry.
Yes.
With this substance, and when the two combine, this horrible sound happens. It's similar, I guess, to the shrieking from before. I guess you didn't really hear that, but not exactly the same. It's sort of like screeching sound, like and like multiple, like it sounds almost like you pressed play on a recording of outtakes from a horror movie. Like it's just all of this like abyssal kind of shrieking and screeching. So the clue here is screeching sounds. And I think
Was the acid also a clue?
yes, yeah, it was.
Okay, I'll also add that then.
Okay. And I think the other thing that happens here is as this sound is absolutely filling up the room and just getting kind of louder and louder, you see symbols rise out of the fluid. It's sort of like a kind of neon green glyphs that that appear kind of magically above the substance, that sort of seem made out of the substance, but also not. And I'm sure being coming from your background, you recognize it immediately as being whatever sort of ancient language TV shows like to use to make things sound supernatural. It's like ancient Sumerian or something.
Yeah, I like the idea that I hold a piece of paper over the acid as I start to see these things emerge, and they like burn up into the
Yeah.
paper and
Oh,
like
that's-
leave the imprint of it behind.
Mhm. That is sick. Yeah. And I don't know that you can translate it, but I think you definitely can kind of you get a sense of sort of the maybe the period and the part of the world that these glyphs might be come from or related to.
Mm-hmm. And is this a separate clue, or is this just another lead?
Yeah, this is a separate clue. Strange
Okay.
glyphs.
Okay, I'll make a note.
All right, and I think we cut over to Troy, going into the hospital. I think 1994 is pre-HIPAA, so we probably will be a little bit easier to get information from. Yep, that was 1996. So probably won't be as hard to get information from the staff here, but I think you come into the hospital, and at sort of the front desk, there's uh, a young person. With a name tag. Let's see, what's a name tag? We'll just say Fred. And we'll say Fred uses they, them pronouns. Fred is young, but seems to be like, maybe like a nursing assistant or something like that, is kind of sitting at this front desk, just like reading like old issues of like Guitar World, something like that, and looks up and is just like, oh, hi, it's been a busy day, how can I, yeah, they are a strange, awkward, anxious person.
Hey, yeah. And Troy will hold up a box, a wooden box, and it's full of like, some people will call them toys, but they're aimed at a little older. So he's got like little tic-tac-toe sets and little Chinese checker sets that he's made. And he said, I heard about the bus crash, and I wanted to do a little something for the kids. I was hoping I could distribute these.
Oh, yeah, do you want to leave them with me, and I'll take care of it, or what's you I looks back, and like there's probably like some like sheriff's deputies milling around a little bit, um and yeah, I think like it's busy, like even though they were sitting here reading this magazine, like it's very busy all around them. They're sort of in the like the eye of the storm, in a sense. um uh
No, you got your hands full here. I'll just pop back. Won't be any trouble. In and out, no problem.
Right. Oh, okay. Uh, here's a list of which students are in which rooms.
That is excellent. Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna get back to my. Okay.
Yep.
Nice meeting you.
Well, actually, hey, I know he'll root through the rocks and he'll pull out one of the little tic-tac-toe with the marbles built in, and he'll just leave it there. He said, when it gets a little less busy.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Then yeah, he'll slip through.
Yeah, I think you head back. You probably have to take an elevator up to like one of the other wards or whatever. And are you going specifically for Nikisha here, or are you trying to get a lay of the land? Like what kind of approach do you or the teacher, the chaperone is here as well.
Oh, I think I'd start with Nikisha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he'll definitely drop off toys as he's looking for her room or walking past.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we kind of see you dropping off toys, and you make your way to Nikisha's room, and she is sitting up in bed. She probably has like a bandage on her head or something. Maybe like a cast on one arm, and she is reading Jurassic Park. And you look around the room, and you can see it seems obvious that someone else has been in here. Kind of has kind of set up camp in here in a sense. So probably maybe her parents or one of her parents. But they are not currently in the room, and she looks up from her book and is kind of like, "Hi, how can I help you?"
Hey, I'm Troy. I just brought you a little something to make the time pass a little easier.
Oh, and
Yeah.
she sets down her book and kind of reaches out and takes what is this one? Another tic-tac-toe or something different?
I think it is, yeah, a little marble tic-tac-toe game thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Uh, Thank you. Troy, you said?
Yeah. I actually used to go to your school. It's been a bit, but when I heard about things, I thought I'd help out where I could.
Oh, that's really cool. My name's Nikisha.
Nikisha, good to meet you. You Jurassic Park. That's a ambitious read.
Yeah, I'm in 6th grade. I can read what I want.
Well, of course, yeah. And dinosaurs. Like, who wouldn't want to read about that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really scary. I didn't think it was going to be as scary. I thought it'd be more like, I don't know. It's pretty scary. It's a scary book, I think. There's a lot of curse words, and a lot of like blood and guts. I don't know. I thought it was going to be different, but I still like it. I like it a lot. But I can only read it when my parents leave the room, because I don't think they would like that. They wouldn't let me watch the movie. But yeah, dinosaurs are cool. She starts to say something and then stops.
I was actually driving past the bus, and speaking of dinosaurs, it's a little more banged up than I'd expect. Looked like something tried to take a bite out of it. It's weird, right?
She's kind of like trying to like gauge. We'll take a break in our second break in just a moment. Thank you. She's trying to gauge whether she can kind of trust you, I guess. Yeah, why don't we take a 5-minute break here, and we'll come back and finish this scene. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. See you at 21 after. Thank you for the reminder on the time. I often let things get away from me. Real quick before we dive back in. One of the things I'm working on as a keeper of this game is trying to get better at pacing. I tend to not push the countdown clock probably as hard as I should, simply because I really enjoy kind of luxuriating and taking time with role playing and stuff like that, which works fine in a home game where you have however many sessions you need. In a game like this, where we only have 4 sessions, 3 of actual play, I need to be more careful about that. So what I'm thinking is we can we can do a little bit more with this scene with Nikisha, go to the tunnels, and then from there maybe do the showdown roll. How does that sound to folks? And then whether we get through the full showdown or not, will depend. But I think I feel okay about starting next time with that, and then going into downtime. Cool. So let's get a little bit of this conversation with Nikisha. So, Yeah, she's I think she's a little reluctant to go into her story. You can probably imagine, she doesn't have to say this, you can probably imagine that all day today she's been telling the story and people have not believed her, which at this point has made her a little reluctant to keep sharing it.
I think Troy will, maybe after the commercial break, they're playing the tic-tac-toe game,
Mm-hmm.
and Troy will say, you know, it's actually pretty cool that your parents try to protect you from stuff, because this place, this town, there's a lot of weird stuff. So don't hold it against them too much.
You know, I think so too. I mean, not that I don't like that my parents they're kind of a bit much, but there's a lot of weird stuff here. Nobody wants to talk about it. Like everybody's just like changes the subject. Like what? I don't know. Like sometimes feel like I am like crazy because I see this stuff that other people just act like they don't. I saw. hmm, I'm trying to decide whether I think there needs to be a role here, but I think that this just. I mean, I think this you've sort of role played right into. I think she's willing to kind of spill here. Um, I saw a dinosaur today. I think a dinosaur attacked our bus. I think it came from the hole, and like I don't know. It looked like I didn't get a very clear look of it, so maybe it wasn't a dinosaur, but like I think it was big. It was really big. You don't believe me, do you?
No, I do, because I found something out there. Like, you know, on ants, they got that thing in the front of their face, the like their outside teeth parts.
Oh, mandible.
Yeah, I found something like that behind a rock right near the bus.
What?
Yeah. So, can I tell you a secret?
Looks around. Yeah.
So, most people think I'm just a mild mannered carpenter, but my friends and I, we hunt monsters. You can't tell anyone.
How? I can't keep that secret.
I think you can. I trust you.
Holy shit! Looks around again.
Yeah, yeah. It's not as fun as it might sound, but
Because it sounds really fun.
a lot more screaming and running than you might expect, and not the good kind. But do you think you remember anything that might help us find what tried to eat the bus?
I mean, it's kind of a blur. Trying to think what information she has that you don't have already. I think okay. Okay. There's something, but I really don't want to tell you. I really don't know if I should tell you.
I promise it won't go any further unless it helps us stop the monster. Then it'll go that far.
I think there's going to have to be some kind of role here.
Sway or connect? Sway, I bet.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you kind of twist her arm a little bit or convince her?
Well, next time the monster shows up, it might actually eat the bus. We want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So you have one in sway. Do you want to
Yes.
push your luck or hear a deal with the darkness?
I'll hear a deal.
All right. I think. Let me look at your sheet real quick. No, I know what it is. Her parents are going to enter the room in any moment.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Okay. All right, so that puts you at 2 dice. I think this is safe though. No, there's a little bit of more of a risk. So I think this is risky.
Then I will also push my luck.
It's one or the other.
Oh, one or the other. Okay, then
Yeah.
Then the deal it is.
All right.
3.
Oh no. Okay. Well, on a risky 3, things don't go great. Things go badly, and there's a major consequence. So as she starts to tell you something, you hear a bunch of commotion out in the hallway, and Nikisha's mom, Emily Blackwell, comes into the room. She's like, starts to say something to Nikisha, and then sees you like sitting there with her. It's like, who are you? You need to leave right now. And you hear like people like running out in the hallway. And you hear some screaming. I'm going to tick the countdown clock 2 more times. And you feel the earth quake a little bit. And you hear an announcement go over the loudspeaker. And probably the firelights start kind of like flashing. You're not exactly sure what's going on. I think we're going to cut over to the tunnels quick, and then we'll come back. Angela, are you in the tunnels alone? Did Book come with you? Book's with? Yeah. And I think we get what's the Tony is your friend, right?
Yeah.
I think probably we get Tony kind of like leading you to one of these entrances to one of the tunnels, and it's all kind of boarded out and boarded up, and he pulls out a crowbar and kind of starts to open it up for you before like stopping and looking and being like, oh, that's weird. And there is a smaller sinkhole nearby. And he kind of goes and looks, and he probably has a flashlight, and he pulls it out and sees, oh, well, there's the tunnel.
I guess that's new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not supposed to be there.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, and do you drop down into the sinkhole?
Book, do you think we should go just the 2 of us? Or should we, because I thought we would be like having a showdown roll into these tunnels, or I'm a bit confused if we are going now just the 2 of us, or are we all together?
I think you're just gathering
Okay.
clues right
Yeah,
now.
this is
We're gonna-
this is still kind of like the last little bit of like gathering
okay.
information. Yeah.
Then I think we quickly drop down and try to get a vague idea of everything with our flashlight, how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
If there are any.
Yeah, you drop down into the tunnel, and from here you kind of see the sort of network of tunnels that's here. Is it okay if we assume that maybe like you have like a compass or something so you can maintain direction while you're down here? So I think you can kind of figure out, okay, that's the tunnel that leads towards the crash site. This tunnel kind of leads off somewhere else, and I think that you're near where Tony brought you. This entrance is actually somewhat near the river, so you can hear the sound of the river a little bit from nearby. And you don't have to move very far into the tunnel to start hearing the sounds of chanting. And that's you can write that down as a clue: chanting. It's the two of you on your own, so you certainly can go investigate that, or if you want to go back and like reconvene with people, you could do that. It sounds like a large number. I'll say that.
I think just thinking about the story, I think it would be better if everyone was here. So I think we can say that we retreat at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So should we do the showdown roll?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
What? Why don't we just real quick review the clues that you've found?
Is screeching sounds and strange glyphs separate clues?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, since that was a safe roll, Mrs. B got a little bit extra there.
Yeah, I know. Why should we have collected that acid? It didn't tell us anything.
Yes, truly disappointed by the turn that took.
Okay. Yeah, so would someone like to read over the clues that you found so far?
Yeah, I can. We found massive claw, marks on the side of the bus. A broken mandible that we got from the bus driver. Screeching sounds that came from the acid that was found on the bus. Strange glyphs emerging from acid that looked ancient. And then this chanting of multiple people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I know in Brindlewood Bay, it tends to be kind of like an on-screen sort of like the mavens theorize together. In this game, it doesn't have to be like that. It can be sort of out of character, like a little bit more writer's room approach, or it can be, sitting around the, Troy's kitchen table, kind of trying to figure it out. Whichever sounds most fun. But why don't we go into the questions, and you can kind of decide whether you want to role play through answering them in question or in character, or if we're sort of taking a step out. Either way is fine. What is the creature?
Trapdoor void spider. I have updated my theory with the word void. Just that
I mean, I think that it might be a spider. I think maybe it's almost something that's feeding on fear rather than like actual people, though. Because I mean, we got all that screams emerging from the acid. Like that's why it didn't like immediately kill all these kids on the bus, because it just wanted them afraid.
So whether it's a spider or whatever it might be, it is feeding on fear.
Don't immediately dismiss Thomas's spider.
It could be a spider. That's fine. What's the evidence for how do you connect one of the clues to spider? At least one of the clues, and it can be a spider if everyone agrees.
Mandible.
Yeah, I'm fine at being a spider. I'm just also saying I think it feeds on fear. That's all.
Yeah. So that answers the second question, right? What does it want, or why is it here? Yeah, it feeds on fear. So void spider feeding on fear. Anyone have any objections so far to that as the answer?
I'm thinking about the glyphs and the chanting, because to me it seems like something more man-made than just a creature there. So maybe
Maybe it is man-made. Maybe it's a fear harvester that someone has created.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick. That's metal as hell. What is the fear harvester void spider weakness, and how can it be contained or dealt with?
I think maybe that's what the words that I'm. We lost Ben. I'll throw off my idea that maybe it's a like based on the glyphs that we saw like emerge from the acid. Maybe it's a matter of oh hey Ben. Maybe it's a matter of finding the right ritual phrases, and with that you can actually like harm and kill it.
Okay, so you find the right sort of wording, and that can hurt it or get it under your control.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also leaving it the question of like get it under our control, make it vulnerable to being killed, because I don't know what the other people's skills will be in this fight with like a hunt showdown.
I have another pitch, which is that the weakness of the spider is that like there is some kind of grandmaster cultist who is like responsible for it being here, either summoning it or creating it or whatever, and we can kind of
your voice faded out there.
Sorry. So yeah, my pitch for weakness is that there is a human being, some kind of grandmaster cultist who has kind of summoned it or created it through some kind of ritual, and if we disturb that the cult's ritual or whatever, like that will handle this. It will go
That makes
back
sense.
to the point. Yeah.
Cool. I like that. Any additions or objections? All right. Well, you were able to answer all three questions, tying clues to them. So that gives you 3d6 for the showdown roll. Who would like to roll it? Remember, if you roll it, you're entirely responsible for the results.
I can roll.
All right.
That's a 6.
All right. Yeah. So on a 6, your theory is correct, and your plan of approach is sound. You're able to act on the exact answers you deduced. When we cut to the action, your position is safe. So where do we cut to the action, do you think? Where do we sort of pick this this back up? Angela goes back and kind of tells everybody what she and Book heard. What do you do?
So do we think that the ritual is still going on in the mines? Or probably we need to somehow apprehend them and stop it from happening. Maybe we find out something like if they do this ritual for some time, then this creature kind of is complete and can go off and harvest fear even further. And there is still some time before that, so that we can disrupt it. So this would mean we would be in the mines.
Yeah.
Troy maybe came back and reported what happened at the hospital, and so they know it's somewhere near under the hospital.
Yeah. And I think actually that probably think about geography for a second here. Kind of where I imagine the hospital being is sort of pretty close to the river. I mean, the river is pretty long, but I imagine might also, you know, sort of carry sound and all of this. So I don't know what the point of this is. Yes, something happened near the hospital, and the ritual it sounds like is not there, but maybe a little further up. But that doesn't mean that they're not connected. Does it show my cursor when I click on things? It doesn't for me. No.
It shows your cursor, but it doesn't show clicking.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the hospital is probably like somewhere around here. And I think probably where y'all got into the mines is like kind of near Emerson's Quarry, we'll say. Number 9 on the map. So yeah, we cut to sort of the 4 of you in the mines or in the tunnels. You know, probably walking through the tunnels, somewhat kitted up, maybe looking like monster hunters here. Does that sound right? And so the plan is to try to disrupt the ritual. Okay. You come to a door in one of the tunnels. There's a sort of side tunnel. You can hear the chanting clearly coming from that direction, and you come to a door, a wooden door, at the end of a tunnel that's kind of narrowed to being just sort of you know, you can only get through single file. What do you do?
I mean, are we going in loud or are we going in quiet here?
Mrs. B, you know about, and Troy, I think, right? Also, you know about rituals. What is good for disrupting rituals? If I punch someone in the face, does that disrupt the ritual well enough?
Generally, that'll do it. Yeah.
How many voices do we think right now? Because I can take a few for sure, but I don't know about the rest.
Yeah, dozens. Sounds like.
Oh yeah, this is maybe something we want to go in quiet for then, because I don't think we have the kit on us for dozens of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something like a double whammy: magical disruption, and then I punch some of them in the face. Or quiet first, and I cover you guys with my hockey armor, and in case you know things go bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you just like kind of like slowly push the door open, or?
Yeah, I guess I mean, yeah. If no one else is doing, I guess Mrs. B will slowly push the door open.
Yeah. And this actually works out in your favor. The door seems kind of towards off to the side and back of this room, so you actually are able to get in without being seen. It's a large chamber, sort of set up with rows and rows of pews, and you see, I'd say a couple dozen people dressed in robes with the hoods up, you know, very kind of you know, stereotypical cultist kind of look. And at the front of the room, you see a pulpit, and you see a a man who looks more like a sort of one of those kind of what are the name? I feel like there's a specific name for it that's just like not coming to me. But like the sort of preachers who will like kind of tour around preaching out of a tent. You know what I'm talking about? Like that. That's kind of the vibe he gives off. But he's sort of leading the people in this chanting. You don't see any giant void spiders around right now, though, so that's a plus. And I think that all three of you are kind of able to get into the room. There is just because this is how TV logic always works. There's like a rack with a bunch of robes on it. If y'all wanted to go that approach, and yeah.
Okay, Mrs. B has a terrible idea that I think. Well, I actually want to ask: are cultists considered creatures mechanically?
Sure. Well, what's your plan
Okay,
here?
Mrs. B tells you all put on some robes and get ready to move, dears. I have an idea. Do the rest of you do that? Oh, Book doesn't.
No, sure, I do it.
Yeah.
Because Mrs. Let's see. Mrs. B steps out not wearing a robe and shouts out, "Must you lot not only practice dark magic, but also show a total lack of good good fashion?" And this is by the woman who is under the hunter gear, still wearing like an orange and like purple like sweater.
Big scarf, like in your picture here. Or?
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I like shout until I see that most of them have their eyes on me. And then I crack open a book of William Blake poetry and begin to read, "Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the force of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry?" And I am invoking my charming and disarming. I may push my luck to cause all hostile creatures to pause while I speak. And I am reading this poem, and it's strange. Like there is like a feel of power at work here because I'm causing this cult to pause while I read the poem.
Yeah. Did you mark off the luck?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that now.
Nice. They do. They like kind of everyone just sort of like stops, and you see the preacher kind of look very confused and then look very angry. Angela, Troy, and Book, you see this happen, and it seems like there's maybe a moment to take action. And I wonder, given that we have 8 minutes left, if we actually kind of cut out here, and then we'll pick up next time with this sort of final showdown.
Cliffhanger.
Which thankfully this is recorded, because otherwise there's no way I'd remember exactly where we ended. Awesome, cool, yeah. So we cut to commercial there, and we'll be back after a week-long break to kind of finish out this showdown. Cool. Well, I'm going to end the broadcast in just a moment. Thanks everybody for playing. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back next week with more Bump in the Dark.